Every morning at 6 a.m., the factory gates groaned open like the jaws of a beast. Inside, machines screamed, metal clanged, and the air smelled like burnt oil and lost time. Among the sea of tired faces, two men stood side by side, Ben and Carl. They clocked in. They clocked out. Day after day. But they never spoke. Not once. They worked next to each other for 6 years without exchanging a single word. Until one Tuesday, Ben collapsed on the factory floor. Blood. Screaming. A hidden letter in his pocket. And when Carl read it, his hands shook. Because the truth inside that letter would change not just their lives, but the lives of everyone in the town. The full story. Ben Thatcher was 53. A welder. Grey in the beard. Eyes like storm clouds. He walked with a limp and never removed his gloves, not even in summer. People said he once built warships. Others said he lost everything in a fire. No one knew for sure. Carl Rivers was 39. Soft-spoken. Clean-cut. Always wore the same blue hoodie under his uniform. He came to work early, left late, and never talked about his past. Not even to his supervisor. They worked on Line 9, the loudest part of the Grandon manufacturing plant in Ohio. It made steel frames for construction vehicles. Dangerous work. No place for daydreamers. Both men were ghosts in plain sight. Sometimes their hands brushed as they passed tools. Sometimes they reached for the same wrench. But still. Not a word. Not a nod. Just machines between them. Then came that Tuesday. The factory was running hot. Orders were up. Bosses barked. Sweat dripped. Lunch breaks were cut short. Ben didn't look well. His skin was pale. His breath shallow. He gripped the welding torch tighter than usual. Carl noticed, but said nothing. Because silence was easier. But at 11:14 a.m., something snapped. Literally. A beam overhead cracked loose from its bolt. A freak vibration. A rare failure. 1 in a million. Carl saw it falling. And for the first time in 6 years, he shouted, "Ben, move." Ben looked up, stunned. Too late. The beam caught his shoulder and sent him crashing to the floor. People screamed. Machines halted. Sirens blared. Blood soaked his overalls. Carl dropped to his knees. And for the first time ever, he spoke directly to Ben. "Stay with me. You're not dying today." Ben's lips moved. He said something, but the words were weak. Paramedics rushed in. As they lifted Ben onto a stretcher, something slipped from his chest pocket. A small, crumpled envelope. Carl picked it up. It had no name. Just a date. August 12, 1999. His fingers trembled. He knew that date. He never forgot it. Because on August the 12th, 1999, his older brother disappeared. Carl sat on the loading dock after the ambulance left. Hands shaking. He opened the envelope. Inside was a photo. 2 young boys. Standing next to a rusted red truck. One had a gap-toothed smile. The other, Carl. And then there was a note. I watched from a distance. I didn't deserve to come back. But I never stopped caring. Forgive me if you can. Ben. Carl's heart nearly stopped. Ben was his brother. The brother who vanished after a house fire 2 decades ago. Everyone thought Ben had died. But he hadn't. He'd run. Carl didn't speak for days. He couldn't. He went to the hospital every evening after his shift. Sat by Ben's side. Watched the machines beep and breathe for him. One night, he asked the nurse if he could talk to Ben, just in case he could still hear. He took a breath and told the truth. I hated you for leaving. Mom cried every night. Dad drank himself to death. And me. I had to be a man before I turned 13. I thought you died. I blamed myself. The room was silent. Then, Ben's fingers twitched. Carl grabbed his hand. I never understood why you left. But now I do. You were ashamed. He looked around the empty hospital room. And you thought I wouldn't forgive you. Carl smiled softly, tears in his eyes. But I already did. Ben woke up the next morning. Weak, but alive. His first words to Carl were, "Did it fall on my head? 'Cause I feel dumber than usual." Carl laughed so hard, he cried. From that day forward, the two men, once strangers, became brothers again. They didn't go back to the factory right away. They had healing to do. Not just of broken bones, but of broken years. The people at Grandon plant were stunned when they found out the truth. Two men, working side by side for 6 years, and never knowing they shed blood. It became the town's favorite story. But it didn't end there. A year later, Ben and Carl opened something new. Rivers and Thatcher Repair Company. A shop where they fixed tools, mended engines, and repaired lives. They hired people others overlooked, ex-cons, dropouts, war vets. They gave second chances. Because they understood what it meant to be broken and found. One afternoon, a young welder asked Carl, "Do you really believe people can change?" Carl smiled and looked at Ben, who was helping an old man fix his wheelchair ramp outside the shop. "Yes," Carl said. "But only when someone believes they are worth saving." Ending. And so the town of Grandon changed. Because two men who never spoke. One who ran from his past. One who lived in silence. Found something in the crash of steel and sparks. Not just truth. Not just forgiveness. But the sound of a second chance. And that sound was louder than any machine.